Ever had someone tell a lie about you and felt it like a punch in the chest? Not just the sting of words, but the way your body reacted. Your stomach tightening, your heart speeding, your mind spinning, trying to make sense of something that never happened. That's not just emotion, that's frequency distortion. When truth is spoken, it moves cleanly, like a bell struck in clear air. When a lie enters the field, it drags static behind it. You feel it, your nervous system feels it. Even the room feels different. We pretend lies are only psychological wounds, but they're also energetic shocks. They alter the geometry of trust around us. They bend connection. They ripple through our electromagnetic field, leaving behind turbulence where coherence used to live. Most of us learn this early. A friend twisting a story, a colleague whispering something that shifts how others look at you. Each time, you sense the drop in frequency, an invisible fracture between what is true and what is said. And sometimes, the deepest pain comes not from being lied to, but from being called the liar. That accusation strikes at the heart of identity. Because truth is not just what we speak, it's what we are. When someone brands your frequency as false, it cuts into the field that defines you. Science will tell you this is cortisol, adrenaline, the fight-or-flight response. But underneath the biology is vibration. Your cells know when coherence has been disrupted. They tighten to defend, or they scatter in confusion. That's why you can't think straight after betrayal. Your inner field is scrambling to find true north again. Lies do not simply mislead, they untune. They separate people from themselves and from each other. And in that separation, distortion breeds. You start doubting your own perception, adjusting your frequency to match the noise, losing the clear tone that once sang easily through your chest. Yet within every distortion lies information. A lie shows you exactly where truth still matters. It hurts because somewhere deep down, you still remember what undistorted resonance feels like. You remember what it is to stand in clarity, before the static. So tonight, as you listen to this, recall one moment when a lie about you, or from you, shifted something you could feel but not see. That invisible ripple is where this story begins. Because until we understand why lies reshape our reality, we will keep trying to fix the surface instead of healing the field beneath it. When we talk about lies, we often talk about morality. Right, wrong, good, bad. But beneath those labels lies physics. Because every thought, every word, every heartbeat emits a measurable frequency. And when those frequencies collide with deception, coherence collapses. Think of your energy field like a tuning fork, always vibrating, always interacting with others. When you speak your truth, that vibration rings in harmonic order. Your voice, breath, and heartbeat align in rhythm. Your nervous system relaxes. Your brain waves form patterns of coherence. That's why truth feels relieving. It's not psychological relief. It's energetic recalibration. Now watch what happens when you lie, or when someone lies to you. The body immediately enters dissonance. Your brain's prefrontal cortex, the part that manages decision and moral awareness, flickers like a short circuit. Your heartbeat quickens. Cortisol floods the bloodstream, and the fine-tuned coherence between the heart and brain begins to split. On an energetic level, that split produces what mystics call field noise, tiny irregularities in the electromagnetic pattern that surrounds you. Researchers studying heart rate variability have seen this. When people speak honestly, their heartbeat forms smooth sine waves, consistent, rhythmic, elegant. When they deceive, those waves become jagged. Integrity literally creates harmony in the field. Dishonesty fractures it, and that field isn't confined to you. It extends outward several feet, sometimes meters, interacting with other people's fields. That's why you can feel when someone's lying before they even finish the sentence. Your body reads their dissonance long before your mind rationalizes it. Physics calls it entrainment. Frequencies in close proximity tend to synchronize. When you're near someone truthful, your system aligns with coherence. When you're near someone false, your system fights to maintain stability. It's energetic contagion. Truth stabilizes, deceit destabilizes. If truth is alignment, then lying is entropy. Every false statement increases disorder, not only in conversation, but in consciousness itself. It's why chronic liars often look exhausted. They're burning energy to maintain an unnatural frequency split between who they are and what they project. Meanwhile, people anchored in truth tend to emanate calm, because no energy is wasted holding up illusions. The quantum layer mirrors this perfectly. In quantum mechanics, coherence describes the alignment of waves moving in phase. When coherence is lost, the system's pattern becomes random. On a planetary scale, imagine billions of human energy fields oscillating in partial coherence, each small lie, each self-deception adding a touch of static to the global signal. But here's the hopeful part. Coherence can be restored. Every truth spoken, every moment of integrity sends a corrective pulse through the network of consciousness. Like retuning an instrument, one honest vibration can begin to realign the field around it. Truth, then, is not just a moral act, it's maintenance of universal order. To live honestly is to keep the cosmos in tune. Stay with me as we discuss the inner lie. The hardest lie to detect isn't the one told to you, it's the one you tell yourself. You can sense deceit in another, your stomach tenses, your intuition whispers something's off. But when you become the source of the distortion, the alarm goes silent. Because you are both the transmitter and the receiver, the noise hides inside your own signal. Self-deception begins quietly. I'm fine. It doesn't matter. I don't care. Small denials that seem harmless, yet each one bends the field a little more. You think you're protecting yourself from pain, but really you're scattering your frequency across competing truths. Every unspoken grief, every dismissed intuition becomes an echo chamber where light struggles to land. Your nervous system, trying to reconcile two realities, the felt truth and the spoken mask, burns energy maintaining the divide. Fatigue, anxiety, brain fog, even autoimmune flares often trace back to this invisible civil war. Psychology calls it cognitive dissonance. The spirit calls it frequency split. Both describe the same thing, a being vibrating in two directions at once. When you lie to yourself, your body still tells the truth. The heart races, muscles tighten, breath shortens, not as punishment, but as communication. Your body becomes the messenger your mind refuses to hear. If ignored long enough, the message grows louder, first as restlessness, then as illness, then as collapse. We've been taught that honesty means telling others the truth, but inner honesty is rarer and far more radical. It asks you to witness the parts of yourself you've edited out of the story. The envy, the fear, the exhaustion, the unmet need for love. Not to shame them, but to reabsorb them into coherence. Because everything you exile continues to distort the signal until it's welcomed home. And here's the alchemy. The moment you admit what you truly feel, the field sighs in relief. Energy that was frozen in pretense begins to flow again. Tears, trembling, laughter. It's all the same current moving through you, retuning the instrument. The world outside shifts accordingly. People start responding differently, not because they changed, but because your vibration stopped contradicting itself. When the inner and outer frequencies match, reality no longer needs to mirror your denial. It can finally mirror your truth. So before we talk about global deception or collective distortion, we must begin here, in the small, sacred act of telling ourselves the truth. Because every universe begins with a single signal declaring, I am what I am. If a single lie can bend one person's field, what happens when millions of them overlap? Walk through a city and you can feel it. The hum beneath the traffic, the subtle exhaustion in the air, as if the world itself is tired of pretending. Every billboard, every curated feed, every politician's smile adds another layer to the fog we call normality. The modern world runs on an economy of distortion. Advertising sells you identities that aren't yours. Politics sells you fear packaged as safety. Social media sells you performance disguised as connection. Each system requires a small dishonesty to survive, a quiet agreement that the show must go on. The cost is coherence. The collective heart begins to race, its rhythm fractured by contradiction. Consume, but be mindful. Succeed, but stay humble. Belong, but be unique. The human field flickers between frequencies, never settling into harmony. And yet we call this progress. We measure worth in attention, not realizing that attention is our most sacred currency. Every second you spend feeding a false signal drains the light from your own field. It's no wonder we feel depleted. We are financing illusions with our life force. But truth has its own economy. It doesn't need marketing or manipulation. It circulates naturally, like oxygen through a forest. When one person speaks honestly, those nearby begin to breathe easier. When enough people do it, the atmosphere changes. You can see this during moments of global honesty. A confession that unites nations, a whistleblower exposing what was hidden, a collective cry after tragedy. For a brief time, the world synchronizes. People feel each other again. That resonance is coherence returning to the grid. The ancients understood this. They built societies around sacred word, believing speech itself carried vibration that shaped reality. Somewhere along the way, we traded that reverence for convenience. Fast words, quick dopamine, disposable truth. And now, as the field shakes beneath the weight of untruths, the earth herself begins to recalibrate. Natural systems respond to human coherence. When we lie en masse, the planet trembles in dissonance. When we return to integrity, she breathes easier. The collective illusion cannot be dismantled by rage. It dissolves only when we stop paying for it with our energy. Each time you choose authenticity over approval, you withdraw your frequency from the false economy. Each act of honesty is a quiet revolution in the grid, because coherence spreads faster than distortion. A single clear tone can organize chaos. And one human, fully aligned with truth, can influence 1,000 others without speaking a word. Integrity is not a moral label, it is structural physics. It is the architecture of light held in perfect tension. Imagine a bridge built from truth. Every beam aligned, every bolt tightened by honesty itself. When pressure comes, a storm, a weight, a test, the bridge holds because no part is hiding from the others. Now imagine a bridge built from deceit. Gaps covered with paint, bolts replaced by illusion. The first vibration of conflict makes it collapse. That is what happens inside the human field. Integrity isn't about being good. It's about resonance between intention, action, and essence. When what you think, what you say, and what you do vibrate in phase, the structure is sound. You move through the world like a tuning fork of coherence. People feel safer around you, though they can't explain why. It's because your field doesn't wobble. Heart math researchers call this heart-brain entrainment. Mystics call it alignment. Physicists call it coherence. All three are describing the same geometry. Waves moving in unison, amplifying rather than canceling each other. Integrity is the waveform of truth in motion. It conducts energy efficiently, without leaks or resistance. That's why people who live honestly often radiate vitality. They aren't expending energy maintaining false structures. Their current flows freely through an unobstructed circuit. When integrity fractures, energy begins to leak. You feel it as fatigue, confusion, double-mindedness. Every unkept promise, every secret grudge, every half-truth is a small short circuit in your field. The current still tries to move, but it meets resistance, static, heat, friction. Over time, those energetic frictions manifest as emotional burnout or physical tension. The earth mirrors this law. A forest in balance recycles its energy. Decay feeds life, storms clear the air. But when imbalance enters, pollution, greed, exploitation, the ecosystem wastes energy fighting itself. It overheats, collapses, or burns. Integrity, whether in a body or a biosphere, is simply the absence of wasted vibration. On the subatomic level, coherence determines power. Lasers are ordinary light waves that have decided to move together. Because they are aligned, they can cut steel. Human truth works the same way. When your thoughts, words, and actions move together, you become luminous and precise. When they scatter, your light diffuses. You may still glow, but you can't focus enough to transform matter. Integrity, then, is not just ethical, it's electromagnetic. It shapes the way your field interacts with reality itself. The more aligned you become, the more the universe trusts your signal. Opportunities synchronize, coincidences increase, because the field recognizes a frequency that won't collapse under pressure. And the opposite is equally true. Those who manipulate the field for power without integrity eventually implode. Their signal cannot sustain the weight of its own distortion. The physics is simple. Incoherence decays, coherence endures. To live in integrity is to become structurally immortal. Your words outlast you, your energy stabilizes others, and your life becomes a resonant pattern the universe can build upon. Stay with me to learn how to heal from betrayal. No matter how fractured the signal becomes, truth always leaves a trail home. Coherence isn't lost forever. It's only forgotten beneath the noise. Realignment begins the moment you stop running from the static and decide to listen to it. When a field has been distorted by deceit or betrayal, our instinct is to fight, to expose, defend, explain. But energy doesn't heal through argument. It heals through resonance. You can't outshout distortion. You have to out-vibrate it. The alchemy starts in stillness. Close your eyes. Let the breath fall into rhythm with your heart. Feel where your body tightens when you think of the lie, where the pulse speeds, where the throat closes. That's the fracture speaking. Instead of judging it, listen. That tension is simply energy trapped in contradiction, waiting to be told the truth. Whisper what you denied. I was hurt. I am angry. I miss what I lost. Each admission releases a knot. Each word spoken in honesty sends a corrective wave through your field. Truth, when uttered gently, is medicine. Forgiveness is the second stage of alchemy. Not moral pardon, but frequency release. It's saying, I will no longer match the vibration of the wound. You don't have to invite the deceiver back into your orbit. You simply reclaim the energy you left with them. That reclamation feels like warmth returning to frozen limbs. Then comes alignment through action. Integrity isn't a feeling, it's movement. Small, steady choices that reaffirm who you are. You keep promises to yourself. You speak slower so words have time to mean something. You stop shrinking to fit false harmony. With every act of congruence, your field strengthens and life begins to respond differently. Synchronicities reappear, your timing improves. People of similar clarity begin to orbit you. The old vibration, resentment, defensiveness, tries to revisit. That's natural. Patterns echo before they fade. But each time you choose truth over reaction, the echo loses strength until silence returns. And in that silence, coherence hums again. Realignment is not about perfection. It's about permission. Permission to be transparent, to evolve, to admit when you fall out of tune. Because integrity is not a static virtue. It's a living frequency that breathes with you. And here's the secret the alchemists hid in plain sight. What dissolves distortion is love. Not sentimental love, but pure recognition. When you finally see yourself clearly, you can't help but resonate with everything that is real. At that moment, the lie ceases to exist, not because you defeated it, but because it has nowhere left to vibrate. There comes a moment, after all the noise has burned itself out, when the silence isn't empty anymore. It hums. That hum is you, your original frequency, the one that existed before the first lie ever touched you. When you finally hear it again, it feels like standing at the edge of creation. The air is clearer, colors sharpen. You don't need to prove your truth anymore because you are it. This is the return to the signal, the place where the self and the soul speak the same language again. You breathe, and the breath carries coherence into every cell. The field around you steadies. Relationships rearrange themselves to match your new tone. What no longer resonates falls away quietly, and what is meant for you finds its way back without effort. Truth has gravity. It draws everything aligned with it closer, and everything false slips out of orbit. You no longer chase clarity, you radiate it. That is the physics of awakening, coherence as magnetism. And when enough of us return to that signal, the world itself begins to sing in tune. The collective heartbeat slows, the atmosphere softens. Lies lose their market value because no one is buying. The earth steadies her breath. Humanity, for a moment, remembers what real feels like. Look back at the path you walked, from distortion to recognition to realignment. Every tremor, every heartbreak, every betrayal was a tuning fork in disguise, teaching you the sound of your own frequency. You didn't lose yourself. You were recalibrating to the truth you were always meant to carry. So the next time someone twists your name, your story, your light, don't fight the lie. Anchor deeper into coherence. Let the truth within you become louder than any distortion outside you. Because in a world of noise, the pure tone is unstoppable. You are that tone. You are the field remembering itself. You are the signal returning to source. Leave a comment if a lie affected you and how you dealt with the emotional aftershock. You never know, it may help someone in the future. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This has been Valkyrie. Thanks for stopping by. We don't just find the light, we become the light.